Please subscribe the channel for more videos. We promise to keep you entertained. Previously, a man was reincarnated as Shin, a boy raised in the woods by his legendary magician grandfather. Shin then goes to a magic academy to learn about the world and see just how much more powerful he is than everyone else. There he would meet a bully that would become only the second demonoid in history. Demonoids are able to destroy entire countries, but everyone is shocked to find that Shin defeats this one all on his own. The story continues as Mr. Storm celebrates his successful experiment in changing Kurt into a demonoid as he watches Shin. In the school, Shin wonders if it's really that easy for someone to become a demonoid. It's a valid question, seeing as how the only other demonoid to ever exist was an extremely high-level magician that lost control of a powerful spell. Kurt wasn't nearly as powerful, so Shin begins to wonder if his transformation was artificially induced. Merlin once explained to Shin that demonoids can only howl, but Shin reveals that Kurt was clearly able to speak. Furthermore, Kurt seemed too weak to be a full demonoid and speculates that he might have been a part of a human experimentation. Afterwards, Shin returns home to find the king there and is told that he will be awarded the first order of merit for defeating the demonoid. Merlin assumes that the king is attempting to use Shin's immense strength for his own political gain, but he explains that it is actually the returning threat of the demonoids that has forced him to make the matter public. Merlin questions the reasoning behind the award though, and the king explains that it's only right since Shin accomplished alone what Merlin and Melita could only do together. The king states that he would never exploit Shin and what he is doing is for the people. Merlin accepts this explanation but warns that they will leave the kingdom if the king breaks his word. As Shin walks the streets, several people begin to recognize him as the new hero that defeated a demonoid all by himself. Onlookers assume that someone as strong as Shin must already be taken and determine that Sicilian must be his fiancée. At school, Mr. Marcus has a hard time holding students back as they want to join Shin's study group to learn from him. He decides to only allow those that can use interdimensional storage magic to take a test for a chance at getting into the study group. Elsewhere, the nation's leaders discuss how Shin believes that the demonoid was artificially created and determined that they must investigate the situation themselves. At the study group, the only students that Mr. Marcus allowed to join are introduced. One is Mark, whose family smiths weapons, and the other is Olivia, whose family runs a popular restaurant. Getting a reservation at the restaurant is almost impossible, but Olivia invites them to eat there one day. Shin then asks if Mark can make him a new weapon, but Mark doesn't even want to try since he doesn't think he could replace the weapon that Shin used to defeat the demonoid. Shin reveals that it was just a regular sword that he enchanted with magic to make the blade vibrate at ultrasonic speed. Doing this allows him to cut almost anything without any force at all, so he just needs a slight change in his weapon. Mark agrees to give it a shot as everyone marvels at how skilled Shin is at enchanting. Elsewhere, investigators see that Kurt was visited by Mr. Storm the day he demonized and go to question him. One investigator wonders if Storm uses sensory magic because of the patch over his eyes and his ability to move around normally. Storm doesn't give a definitive answer, and the investigator asks what happened to his eyes. Storm explains that he was born as a noble, but during a power struggle, a family member attempted to fatally wound him. He managed to survive, but his eyes did not. The investigator then questions him about how eager he was to invite as many students as he could to join a study group. Mr. Storm explains that he had been exiled from the empire and felt that he needed to show tangible results to establish himself at the school. He was very successful as all the students increased their magical power greatly, which makes what happens occur much more devastating for him. The brilliant investigator believes Storm and STD helped examine Kurt's demonized corpse. since he is such a high level magician, and Strom agrees too. At lunch, Shin explains that his ideal sword would combine both a thin blade and increased durability. Those are contradicting attributes, though. So the others wonder why he can't just buy a new sword every time it breaks, since his family is wealthy. Shin explains that Melita doesn't allow Merlin to give him much of an allowance, since she wants him to learn the value of money. They come up with the idea to make the sword so that the blade is easily replaceable, and the group decides to head to Mark Smith's shop after the school. Later, Strom arrives to examine Kurt's body but finds that the investigator had lied and intends to investigate his corpse instead. The investigator explains that the king made sure that no one knew the name of the person that had demonized, so it was clear that Strom was responsible since he knew it was Kurt. Strom isn't concerned one bit and laughs at how he didn't realize Kurt's name was a secret. And the episode ends here. Please subscribe the channel for more such videos and let us know in the comments about your favorite part of the video. Thank you for watching.